say you are what you eat, so I don't eat chicken feet. But I love me some of Grandma's pickled beets. Well, cut it up, put it in the pan, throw it over your shoulder and see where it lands right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Maters, taters, beans and corn, the cows in the barn and the sheep's been shorn, kids in the barnyard chasing Grandpa's chicken. Chicken. Spices, slices, cuts and dices, gonna slash your grocery prices right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Help you grow your garden good with recipes to suit your mood. Try some grub you've never tried before. Smash it with a wooden mallet. Gonna educate your palate. Right here in Farmer's Kitchen. In Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. We're gonna cook something good now.
Funding for Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen brought to you by L81 Bottling Company. Taste, love, and share the tradition. Harvest Energy Solutions. Harvest cabins when you absolutely have to get away. Housewarmings, meeting all of your outdoor living and fireplace needs. Kentucky Sheep and Goat Development Office. Try something different tonight. Rose Farm Supply. Family farming and commitment to our customers since 1982. Salt Rocks, the flavor of life. Woods Equipment Company has every tool you need to make working the land as rewarding as hunting it. The city of Stanford, Kentucky. Come home to Stanford. Chrisman Mill Vineyards. Good Foods Co-op. Marksbury Farm Market. Weisenberger Mill.
Hello and welcome to Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. We're Cowboy Cooking, and I told you we would. You know what? When you're cooking over an open fire, the taste is so much better. I love Dutch oven cooking. This is just a good, solid bread recipe. We're starting to have some cooler days, which means soup, stews. Nikki's inside right now in just a little while. We're gonna make a very interesting soup. Now, not too long ago, somebody asked me, can you can pumpkin? Well, the answer is yes, you can pumpkin, and we're gonna show you how to do that tonight. And then we're gonna make a recipe from that. But Nikki's gonna make her grandmother's lemon meringue pie. But first of all, to go with our soup that we're making in a little while, we gotta have some bread on the Dutch oven. On our Cowboy Campfire Cooking segment, Dutch oven bread. All right, here's the basic ingredients. It's really so simple. You got 2 cups of Weisenberger, just white flour, and then some white wheat flour or some wheat flour. You're gonna need a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, and a cup and a half of warm water. 2 3/4 teaspoons of yeast. I'm gonna come back and get that working with just a pinch of sugar. About a teaspoon of salt in here. Let that work. All right, now my yeast and water is set for 5 minutes. I'm gonna take my 3 cups of assorted flours, and I'm just gonna gently mix them up. Very quickly, it becomes nice and doughy. Now I'm gonna take this, and the most lengthy part of the process is the rising of the flour. I'm gonna cover this. I'm gonna take it inside where it's a little bit warmer. I'm gonna let it set for about 4 hours. All right. So our 4 hours has passed. Now we're gonna pull our dough out of here, and you're gonna see pretty quickly that we got some good looking dough right here. I'm not gonna do much to it. I'm just gonna work it a little bit. Now here's the part where you're probably thinking, okay, I've never cooked in a Dutch oven. If you're a pro, you know the deal. You can almost eyeball your coals and know exactly how much you have to have for 300 degrees, 350 degrees. In this case, we need about 425 degrees. So how do you do that? Well, look here at this book. The handy little lodge book tells you right here, Dutch oven cooking. This is a 12-inch. If I want a 425 degree temperature, which I do for bread, this is gonna cook about 40 minutes. And you can do this with coals from wood. It makes it a lot easier if you start out with charcoal briquettes. To get a 425 degree temperature, we need 10 on the bottom, 21 on the top, which we've done. I've also taken some lard and put in the bottom of that pan. Now I'm gonna take my dough, see how nice that looks? And put it back in the bowl, and I'm gonna let it rise for another half hour. While we have that last half hour of dough to rise, that's when we get our pan preheated and ready to go. All right, the half hour has passed. We're gonna do one more little roll around here. We're gonna take our bread, get it in a nice little round shape, and we're gonna pop it directly in the pan. Here's our future bread. And we are good to go. Now keep an eye on your briquettes. If you see them burning down, you can replace them. Give that a bit. Now we'll go see what Nicki's doing in the kitchen.
Well, hello, and welcome to Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. Can I help you?
You like my cowboy hat?
I do like your cowboy hat.
How much do you like it on a scale like from 1 to 8?
10.
She likes my cowboy
cute.
hat. I'm not going to wear it all night because we're going to end up banging heads here. While our bread is cooking, not too long ago we had a young lady say, hey, can I can pumpkin?
Yes, you can can pumpkin.
Yes, you can pumpkin. Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things that you can't hot bath it.
Right.
It's kind of like green beans. You got to get all the bugs out. So you're going to have to let this go pint-wise for about 55 minutes. Quarts is going to be about 90. So let's show them how to get started. If you want a canned pumpkin, what you can do with canned pumpkin?
All kinds of stuff.
Well, you can make pumpkin cake, pumpkin pie, pumpkin soup,
Yummy.
which we're going to have with our bread here in a little while. But let's go ahead and get started.
These are from Good Foods, too.
These are organic pumpkins. They are for eating. The smaller ones generally are sweeter and have a better taste. And we're just basically going to cut these cats open, scoop the innards out. And once you get them cleaned out, once you get it boiled, you don't want it real soft and you don't want to mash it up. We're going to cut it into inch-sized squares and then we're going to cook it. You're going to cut these up just into manageable sized pieces. I'm watching my time here because I'm going to check my bread at about 35 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and drop these in one at a time. And Nicki, it took what, 2 pumpkins to get those 2 jars?
1 pumpkin.
1 pumpkin to do 2 jars. Okay.
Wow. What'd you make?
That is wonderful,
That looks
wonderful Dutch oven bread. You
Good.
cannot hardly go wrong with it. Now, here's what I always like to do as soon as it comes out while it's still smoking hot. Now look at that. Wow, that's nice and hot. I'm going to go ahead and put some butter on top of that and let that soak in so it'll kind of make it moist. And look at that. Now,
Wow.
I've been working on this all day. You know what? I'm going to switch hats real quick because I don't want to bang you with this. Look at here.
Wow. How much bread did you make?
I've been making bread all day long. You know, once you get started and you start messing around with it, this is a different type of bread. It's got a little more wheat in it. Oh, I can't hardly wait. Do we have to wait for soup?
We could have a little taste.
Just a bite
to hold us over.
over?
Yeah. I need a little bite.
Let's have a little bite here. All right, we said we were going to have a little bit while our pumpkins are boiling, but you know what? Let's split this in half. Put some butter on that.
Is that for you? Not for me?
Look how nice that is.
Oh, it's nice.
Well, you can make some fresh cheese with that. All right, let's set the breads out of the way before we eat them all. The pumpkin's going, and obviously we have something sweet coming up.
Yes,
Let's
we do.
move this out of the way. That bread was good.
It was.
Now, as our pumpkins are almost done behind us, we'll just let those go. Because remember, we're going to can pumpkin tonight. But we have to have a dessert.
Oh, yes.
And whose dessert is this? Now, we like to follow our grandparents' recipes. This is...
Grandma Kellicarinas again. And I have this book that my mom gave me that is so old, and we just found it. It is full of desserts that are
Now, that's
amazing.
when they live down in Jupiter, Florida, right? And I love to find these little community cookbooks from, all over different places where, the older folks who had
Right.
recipes from their parents and from people they'd gathered up over the years. That's what I love to find. And this is your actual grandmother.
You know what's neat about this book, though, is she has it's all her recipes almost, but she used our names, all her granddaughters. I was 3. I mean, she has everybody's got their own recipe, all the daughters, all the daughter-in-laws, but it's all hers. So she made her own book.
She made these pies for the restaurant in Pennsylvania.
It's amazing. So anyways,
let's make this pie. I've had this pie, by the way.
It's really good.
It's delicious.
I'm gonna need your help. That's my imitation double boiler right there.
It's close enough.
1.5 cups of water.
All right.
And we're gonna put 1/2 cup of sugar. And then I'm gonna put 4 tablespoons of cornstarch.
All right, that's our thickener?
Yes, and it won't take that long. Once it gets going, you'll be shocked at how thick it gets.
Okay, she's just got this listed as a lemon pie.
Yes.
But there's a meringue.
Right, and I noticed in her recipe, she didn't go into full detail. You just gotta kinda, there's the recipe.
Fill in the gaps.
Fill in the gaps, that's how she did it.
The great thing about a lot of these recipes, there's no imitation lemon flavor or imitation this or that. It's the real thing.
Right. Now while you're letting that thicken, I'm gonna start the next process.
Okay.
Okay, this is gonna be, I need 3 egg yolks, but I'm gonna save the whites for my meringue.
Okay. How do you like our mixer we found? We found that in Shelbyville. It was actually, it still has the paperwork with it. Now you'll notice our mixer there has 3 beaters on it.
I've never seen 3 beaters. I love that.
Yeah, this is getting really thick all of a sudden. Really thick all of a sudden.
That's what you want. Yep, that's exactly what we want.
So now you have your thick pasty stuff.
Yes, we do. And I've separated my eggs, and I have my yolks over here and my whites over here for later. And what I'm going to add to this is 1/2 cup of sugar.
Okay.
And 1/4 teaspoon of salt.
To your yolks.
To my yolks.
All right, now is this okay here?
Just let it sit there a minute. All right, just let this sit.
All right, now you going to mix that up?
Yes.
See how this works? It's on the top.
Oh, wow. I love it.
Now
All
this?
right, now we're ready to add that.
All right.
Drink all that in there. That look good or what?
How about that?
I love it.
You know, there's better equipment out there, but look at that.
This is fun.
Look how cool it is. 1950.
Now we need some lemons.
Lemons.
Because we need 1/3 cup of lemon juice, and we got our new little lemon. This thing works great.
The old stuff still works mighty nicely, doesn't it?
The old style. I love it. I can make you orange juice.
That's what I'm talking about. How much you need?
1/3 cup. So I'm gonna
1/3 cup.
I'm gonna test it here after this. See how much we got.
Freshly squeezed lemon juice. Well, that's about perfect.
There you go. And that was about 1.5 lemons. There's our lemon.
That already smells
Real good. And then right here we have 2 tablespoons of butter that we've kind of let melt. Real butter always.
The real deal.
All right. I think I know how to do it now. Ta-da! It works like a tap.
And that's basically our filling for the pie. Right?
That's our filling. We're ready to put this into our pie crust, which I've already baked. About 20 minutes. I love this little mixer.
And then you put it in the refrigerator for how long?
Yeah, we'll leave it in the fridge, and they say just serve it at room temperature.
And this is something that doesn't stay around long. Here, let me
Scrape
help you
that for me.
And you don't want it to, because it starts to separate after a couple days.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you that in any book. All right, let's talk about meringue. We've turned the pumpkin off. I think it's ready. We'll deal with it in a minute. But first, the only thing missing is the wonderful white meringue on the top.
And what I have in here is just the 3 egg whites.
Okay.
And some people do it different. Some put vanilla, but she just used 6 tablespoons of sugar. Okay. And we're just gonna mix that up till it gets nice and fluffy for us.
I'm going full power. Round and round it goes. And just like that.
We got meringue.
It's a beautiful thing. All right, you want me to put that on there?
Yes,
You trust me?
I trust you. Yeah, just go ahead and do your thing. It doesn't matter. It can be whatever you want.
Let me make little designs on top of it.
Yeah,
Or
here's your
maybe that'd be
smoother. There's your
the
smoother.
smoother thingy.
It's perfect. Beautiful.
Well, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not a professional pie maker. But once we get it browned,
It'll taste good.
pop it in.
You got the broiler on?
Here, I'll load this.
And we're just gonna broil this for what, 2-3 minutes?
Yep.
Kind of watch it real quick.
Ready? Pie.
Looks yummy.
Looks highly edible. All right, now let's take our next step and let's bring our pumpkin over. I'll hold this under that if you want to. It should be adequately boil, let that drain for just a minute. All right. You don't want it too soft. Now, at this point, and I'll let you do that, we're going to cut this up into inch-sized pieces. And you do not want to puree this before you put it in the jar. See how easy that comes off? Now you could scrape it off with a butter knife. You're not going to lose much by doing this. She's just going to cut it in inch pieces and cut the outside edge off. As you get them ready, I'm going to go ahead and start putting them in the jar. Now we're going to have about an inch headspace. I'm going to keep jamming them in there, and I can use some of the water that we use to boil them in. Doesn't hurt to put some water in there. The pieces of pumpkin will actually stay like this, so once you take your jars out to use them, you can puree them or use them for whatever you might be using it for. All right, I've got these packed pretty tightly. I'm going to take just a little bit of the juice that it actually boiled in. We're in there. Our jars have been sterilized, so they're ready to go in the pressure cooker. And we found that one of these little pumpkins makes almost exactly 2 jars. Put that top on.
You're ready.
All right, now we're going to get our pressure cooker going. We're going to take this pie. What do you call it, Nikki?
Pie.
No, it's what do you seriously call it?
Pie.
What is it?
Pie.
Pie?
Pie.
It's a pie. But here we are. Here's our wonderful pumpkin. We need 4 cups of that. Now you can see they're still in pieces, but once we cook that, we're going to puree that. Now we're going to come back with 6 cups of chicken stock. You remember when you're boiling your chicken or crock-potting your chicken, save all that good stuff. Now we're going to bring this to a boil, and we're going to put in 1 medium onion, finely chopped, and we're going to put in a heaping tablespoon of our wonderful basil from the back porch, which really did well this year. Everybody I've talked to has had great basil. 1 garlic clove, finely chopped, a half a teaspoon of fresh thyme.
That smells good already.
Now here's an optional. You can take and put a chicken book. Did you hear that noise?
What was it?
Acorns. This is a busy year for acorns. The woods are full of acorns. Now we're going to bring that to a boil. We're going to reduce the heat after it comes to a big rolling boil and let it simmer. Then we're going to start our immersion blender and really get things going well. Now, we put the chicken bouillon cube in, so we don't need a whole lot of salt. We're going to put some big old chunky pepper in there because you know who likes pepper.
Yeah, I do.
Glenn, the pepper bandit. Here he is right here. Watch out for this guy right here because he will steal your pepper. You know, we got to talk about Glenn. We went to Alaska with these cats. Kelly made this graphic of Glenn like he's the pepper bandit. And we absolutely love to make fun of Glenn in a fun fashion. He's great people, which we have to have them over here.
Yes, we do.
All our Alaska crew for the salmon that we still have in the freezer. And we're going to have a little get-together of our fun trip we had. All right, now we're going to let that come to a rolling boil. Then we're going to back it off and let it simmer for about a half hour. Now, I'm going to come back with just a little bit of sugar. You'd be surprised at the soups that you eat, the prepared soups that you eat that have a little bit of sugar in them. Once it starts to boil, we're going to back it down, let it simmer for a half hour, then we're going to come back and
I'm Lardo.
And I'm Burley.
And we're the Moron Brothers. Got a frog in my throat. We sing this song, got a mule in it, about Rodney, and mind me, Uncle Ben, he rides the mule everywhere he goes. And down at the bottom of the hill there where we live, there's a little tavern. Every Saturday night, he rides that mule down that hill and has a little more than he should, but he don't hurt nobody because all he's got to do is get on that mule that takes him up top of the hill. Back earlier in the spring, he was down there getting his snoot full on his mule, and boys in town played a bad trick on him. They went out there and took the saddle off his mule and turned it around backwards and put it back on his mule. He come out there singing and hollering, and he slung himself up in that saddle, and the old mule started up that hill to the house. He hollered and screamed all the way up the hill. Lord have mercy, Judy, you got to come and see, it's horrible. She said, "What's the matter with you now, Ben? You've had too much again." He said, "Somebody's cut my mule's head plumb off. I had to hold my hand over his windpipe all the way up that hill. He's losing air."
Smell that?
It smells good.
Ooh. Now I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna make this super yummy. Now you could take this out and puree it a little bit at a time, but this works pretty well.
Yeah. Kind of nice because you can keep it cooking.
Oh, I wish you could smell this.
It smells delicious.
Now at this point, I'm gonna let it simmer for about another half an hour. Then I'm gonna put the cream in it and a tiny bit of butter.
We're good to go.
Ooh. Okay, Nikki, if you will, go ahead and take that heavy whipping cream. Pour into there. That's gonna lighten it up. I'll snuck a little butter in there, but it'll go through.
You did me.
Oh,
Yum.
look at that. Now let's get this mess cleaned up. When we come back, you're gonna see a nice little setup of our pumpkin soup, our cowboy bread,
And dessert.
and dessert. I'm starving. All right, let's clean this up. You know what? We have taken our pumpkin, our sweet, wonderful pumpkin, and we have turned it into some beautiful soup. We have taken our cowboy bread. Look at our cowboy bread. Look at that. Isn't it
Looks
beautiful?
good.
Isn't it beautiful? Everything's ready to eat. You want the little spoon? I'll take
Yes.
the big spoon. And here's what I like. I like to take a piece of bread and just pull it up. If I do say so myself. There's a little bit of sweetness there, but with the chicken stock and the onions and the garlic and the thyme,
That's good.
this would be a good time to tell you about a lot of things you can try. Where would you find that? TimFarmersCountryKitchen.com? Is that where you would look?
That's where I would look.
That's where I would look. Check out TimFarmersCountryKitchen.com for some recipes that you might not have seen before. And also check out our Facebook page and like it, Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. I don't know how you can beat this, but it's time for dessert. Grandma Calacarinas is still helping us out with her cooking, even though she's long gone. She's smiling down on us right now.
That's good.
You can tell those are fresh lemons. Ooh, that's nice.
I need more soup.
Generally, this time of night, it's all about
Good times
good friends.
and good eats.
Pumpkin soup is what I'm talking about. See you next week with a brand new show.
To order a cookbook or DVD of the show, please call 502-319-0487 or email timfarmerck@gmail.com.
Special thanks to Furniture World Superstore, Kinco Farm Fence Supplies, Polecat Custom Smokers, Tater Knob Pottery and Farm, and Tim Farmer Productions. Funding for Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen brought to you by L81 Bottling Company. Taste, love, and share the tradition. Harvest Energy Solutions, harvest cabins when you absolutely have to get away. Housewarmings, meeting all of your outdoor living and fireplace needs. Kentucky Sheep and Goat Development Office, try something different tonight. Rose Farm Supply, family farming and commitment to our customers since 1982. Salt Rocks, the flavor of life. Woods Equipment Company has every tool you need to make working the land as rewarding as hunting it. The city of Stanford, Kentucky. Come home to Stanford. Chrisman Mill Vineyards. Good Foods Co-op. Marksbury Farm Market. Weisenberger Mill.